So, Mikel Arteta didn't just beat Inter Milan at San Siro, he sent a chilly message to whoever wants to stop him. But the way Arsenal dismantled Inter exposed something far bigger, a structure that only works if the opponent makes one specific mistake. And that's where Michael Carrick comes in. And right now you must be thinking, that Inter Milan game has nothing to do with United. Well, Arteta's Masterclass didn't give Carrick options, but left him with just one choice. What I'm about to show you next changes everything about Sunday's clash, and how Carrick can flip it or risk getting demolished like Inter. On the surface, what we saw at the San Siro looked like standard Arsenal. They dominated the ball and on occasion suffocated Inter Milan in their own half and looked physically superior. Most analysts will tell you it was just a good day at the office. But if you look closer, Arteta did something he rarely does. He stopped trying to win through pure volume and started winning through intentional vacuums. He baited Inter, one of the best defensive units in Europe, into pressing high, only to exploit a structural glitch in their transition. It wasn't just about passing, but had a lot to do with positional dominance, where Arsenal players occupied spaces that forced Inter Milan's midfielders to choose between tracking a runner or holding their line. They chose wrong every time. And then there's the silent killer, the set piece. Even when the Nerazzurri managed to stabilize their open play defense, Arsenal's dead ball routines acted like a psychological hammer. It's not just about height, you just had to admire the sheer variety. Whether it's the near post flick or the back post overload, Arteta has turned corners into high percentage goal scoring opportunities. It means you can play a perfect defensive game for 89 minutes and still lose because of one momentary lapse during a corner. Now, I know what you're probably shouting at the screen. This is a reach. Manchester United isn't Inter Milan. The styles are different, the players are different, and Carrick isn't Christian Chivu. And guess what? You're right. United doesn't have the Nerazzurri's veteran defensive discipline. But that is exactly why this is more dangerous for Carrick. The principles Arteta exploited at the San Siro aren't specific to Italian football. They're structural. They target the gaps that appear when a team tries to transition from a mid-block to an attack. If Carrick looks at that Inter tape and thinks that's a Champions League problem, he's already lost. These tactical traps don't care about the badge on your shirt. They care about the space behind your fullbacks and the timing of your double pivot. The stakes for Sunday couldn't be higher. If Carrick ignores the blueprint Arteta just laid out, he isn't just risking a loss, he's walking his team into a slaughterhouse where the doors are already locked. Now, if you look at the stats from the San Siro, you'd think Inter Milan actually stood a chance. They had more possession, 51%, more total passes, and outshot Arsenal 15-14. On paper, it looks like a competitive heavyweight bout. But football matches aren't won on spreadsheets. They're won by who controls the quality of the game. Arteta allowed Inter to have the ball because he knew exactly what he was going to do when he took it back. He didn't just want to win, he wanted to dictate where the heart of the game was played. And to do that, he played his ace, Gabriel Jesus, who didn't play like a typical number 9, but like a ghost. He drifted into the half spaces, dragged Inter's world-class center backs into no man's land, and turned Inter's supposed possession dominance into a series of frantic, low-quality recovery runs. By dropping deep, the Brazilian created intentional vacuums, those gaps we talked about earlier. When Inter pushed forward to capitalize on their possession, they were actually walking into a cage. Every time they lost the ball, Arsenal's transition was surgical. Jesus didn't just score twice, he functioned as the tactical pivot that made Inter's bravery look like recklessness. This is the disbelief part for United fans. You see those stats, the shots, the passes, and you think if we play like Inter, we can overwhelm them. But here is the cold truth. Carrick cannot dare to be brave like Inter. Inter is a team with years of tactical muscle memory. They've played in Champions League finals. They know how to hold a shape. And yet, Arteta still used their own aggression against them. If Carrick tries to go toe-to-toe, if he tries to win the possession battle, or play a high-pressing game to show the fans that United is back, he's doing exactly what Arteta wants. He'd be handing Arsenal the keys to the Emirates. So, looking at the wreckage of the San Siro, Michael Carrick finds himself at a crossroads. He has exactly two paths he can take. One leads to the headlines the fans want, the other leads to the result the team needs. The first choice is the United way. This is the pride trap, and it's currently fueled by the adrenaline of beating City. It's about being brave, being expressive, and hunting Arsenal in their own backyard. high pressing, verticality, and trying to win the crowd with a display of pure, unadulterated passion. It's the choice that says, we're united, we don't sit back for anyone. But here's the problem, that's exactly what Arteta is hoping for. If Carrick chooses pride, if he tries to out-Inter the Inter we just saw, he's walking straight into that killer vacuum. He'll be leaving 40 yards of green grass behind his defensive line for Arsenal to exploit. It's a choice that creates a great atmosphere for the first 15 minutes and a funeral for the next 75. Then there's choice 2. This is the pragmatic, cold-blooded approach. It requires Carrick to do the one thing the "we're back" narrative hates. He has to be boring. He has to betray the hype. He has to ignore the noise from the City win and settle into his rigid 4-2-3-1 low to mid-block defense. We're talking about a compact box in the middle of the pitch that offers Arsenal zero space to slide those vertical passes through. It's not about dominating the San Siro way, it's about neutralizing the threat. By sitting deep, Carrick eliminates the vacuum Arteta wants to create. He forces Arsenal to play sideways U football, recycling the ball fruitlessly while waiting for that one moment, that one loose pass to unleash United's real weapons. And of course, those weapons have been deadly lately. If Carrick stays compact, the interzonal spaces Arsenal used to slice Inter open simply vanish. Arteta's masterclass relies on the opponent being brave enough to leave a gap. If Carrick refuses to be brave, he forces Arsenal into a game of patience, which, as we've seen in their trickier games this season, can quickly turn into frustration. This is how Carrick will keep his real weapons, Mbeumo, Dorgu, and Ahmad, coiled like springs. United doesn't win by outplaying Arsenal, they win by outweighting them. One misplaced pass from an impatient Odegaard, one interception by a deep-sitting Dalot, and suddenly United's forwards are sprinting into 50 yards of empty space behind a high Arsenal line. So, the stage is set. Michael Carrick stands at the ultimate crossroads. Does he chase the ghost of United pride and risk the same fate as Inter? Or does he embrace the boring pragmatism that could actually topple the masterpiece Arteta just built? Whatever he chooses, we'll know in the first 15 minutes. However, one choice leads to a potential massacre, the other leads to a tactical blueprint that could change United's season. But now, I want to hear from you. If you're Carrick, do you trust the momentum of the City win and go for the throat? Or do you park the bus and wait for that one perfect counterattack? Drop your score predictions and your tactical takes in the comments below. I'll be jumping in to see who called the Carrick choice correctly. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve on how the tactical landscape of the Premier League is shifting every single week, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You don't want to miss our post-match breakdown. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next one.